Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you had a very good week. Welcome, everybody. Got quite a few people here tonight. That's great stuff, guys. For those who don't know, this is the Snowflake Corner. What we do here is we cover news outside the UK, and we do this every once a week here. So I hope you guys enjoy the show. Just quite a lot to cover today, so I'm just going to have a quick hello in the chat, and then I'll just then we'll go straight into it. Duke Vengeance is here. Duke's talking about stuff happening in the UK. I'm sure Max will be covering that later on his live stream. I'm sure, Duke. Stephen Banker is here. Good to see you, Stephen. Hope you had a good week. Rebecca is here. Good to see you. Wolfpet is here. Alistair Keir is here. Good to see you all. Hope you're all doing well. There's a poll there for the live chat for those who pop in live. It's just a... I wasn't sure what poll to do today, but I'll give you guys something to think about. Outside of Europe, guys, where do you find the news most interesting? Asia, Africa, South America, North and South, other. So other obviously means maybe outside the continent, like really off the beaten track, shall we say, parts of the world. So that's what other is. And Jao is here as well. Good evening, Jao. Good to see you. Happy International Women's Day for all the women out there who have influenced me and all of us out there for better things as well. Today is International Women's Day as well. And one interesting story which we have to start off with. Genie Bottle, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Tories Don't Get Tasered as well. Good to see you both. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have a good week as well. Of all the stories, I didn't think that we'd be covering a story like this, but here we go, guys. This one is from Ireland. Yes, today's a very special day for Ireland, guys. I'm very interested in this story, guys. So this is from AP News. Ireland's constitution says a woman's place is in the home. Voters are being asked to change that, guys. Let's read into this before I give my initial thoughts. Artibus, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good week as well. Yes, they are polling today, guys. Those in Ireland. So, according to Ireland's constitution, a woman's place is in the home. Irish voters will decide today on International Women's Day whether to change the 87-year-old document to remove passages the government say are outdated and sexist. The twin referendums are on deleting a reference to women's domestic duties and broadening the definition of the family. While many women and men support the amendments, others say the proposed changes are confusing and could have unintended consequences. I don't know how they are confusing. If the Irish Constitution states that a woman's place is in their home, no, I think that should be amended, if I'm personally honest. Now, I haven't read the Irish Constitution, so I can't speak for that, but if that's what it literally states in the Constitution, I think it's long past overdue. It should change, and I think of all the days for them for the people of Ireland to have that vote, what a better day to do it than on this International Women's Day. I think it seems like the stars aligned for this day as well, which I found a bit interesting as well. Elvis Black, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good week as well. I hope that they vote with the intention of changing the amendment. So it says many men and women support the amendment. And I don't agree with the premise that a woman's place is in their home. I think it can be general. Some women are happy to be to work at home and be a housewife. Some women want to have their ambitions and be more than just that. Some men want to be the house worker, wants to be working in the house, so the women can. Some cases it could be a couple that both couples want to be working and whatnot and not be stuck in the home. Times have changed. The premise of a woman's place in their home is that due diligence is not normal nowadays. It's very rare, shall we say, to have it in these days. At least here in the UK. I mean, I can't speak for other nations, but I don't believe in the premise that a woman's place is in their home anymore. I think we've long moved on from that. So what are the referendums about? So the first vote is part of the consultation that pledges to protect the families as its primary unit of society. Voters are being asked to remove a reference to marriage as the basis on which a family is founded and replace it with a clause that says families can be founded on marriage and other durable relationships. If passed, it will be the 39th Amendment to the Ireland Constitution. Interesting. The second change, a proposed 40th Amendment, would remove a reference to a woman's role in the home as a key support to the state. and delete a statement that mothers shall not be obliged by economic necessity to engage in labour to the neglect of their duties in their home. It would add a clause saying that the state will strive to support the provisions of care by members of family to one another. Interesting. Hello, number 3, and Pedulous. Good to see you both. Hope you're doing well. Pedulous, regarding the question, I've click for languages for more as well. So I clicked other as all is connected. That's what I said. Yeah, like if you wanted that, if there's something out of there, if you're unsure, that's why I put that option there for the question there. Ireland's constitution dates from 1937 when the country became a republic. Excuse me. Ireland has changed enormously since then, transforming from a conservative, overwhelmingly Roman Catholic country in which divorce and abortion were illegal to an increasingly diverse and social liberal society. The proportion of residents who are Catholic fell from 94.9% in 1961 to 69% in 2022, according to the Central Statistic Office. The social transformation has been reflected in a series of constitutional changes. Irish voters legalised divorce in the 1995 referendum, backed same-sex marriage in 2015, and voted to repeal a ban on abortions in 2018. They have come a long way, Ireland. Like I, as you guys may or may not know, I have in my family tree Irish family, and I remember my grandparents, especially my granddad, was not would not approve of some of the certain things of our times these days. They lived in a time where let's just say there are things that he had beliefs in that aren't ideal in this day and age, shall we say. The Prime Minister Leo Varadkar announced a year ago on International Women's Day 2023 that the government would hold a referendum to enshrine gender equality and remove discrimination language from the Constitution. The new votes are about removing old-fashioned language and recognising the realities of modern family life, said Varadkar, Ireland's first ethnic minority leader who is in the same-sex relationship but not married. Do the changes have widespread support? Opinion polls suggest support from the yes side on both votes, but many voters remain undecided as polling day nears. The debate has been less charged than the arguments over abortion and gay marriage. Ireland's main political parties all support the changes, including centrist government coalition partners Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael as the biggest opposition party Sinn Féin. Tracy Carroll from County Meath in Central Ireland, who cares full-time for her 2 children, says women have been long told our place in society is in the home and looking after our children and our husbands. But we've moved from that, but the Constitution hasn't moved from that, and a woman's place isn't anywhere where she wants it to be, she told Sky News. Opponents' argument that the wording of the changing was poorly thought out, an argument that appeared to gain traction in the final days of the campaign. One political party calling for no votes is I can't say that word, guys. Atunu, a traditionalist group that splits from Sinn Féin over the larger party's backing for legal abortion. Atu's leader Peter Tolbin said the government's wording is so vague that it will lead to legal wrangles, and most people do not know what the meaning of durable relationship is. There may be questions about the possible wording, but I don't think the context of the wording that it has now is I don't think is necessary anymore. Do I have an Irish passport? No. Whether I can I was supposed to chase this up a while ago. I'm still not sure if I can actually get one, because I'm not sure if I still can, just because because both my the problem that I have on that number 3 is my parents from one of my parents' side did not get an Irish passport. So I might not be entitled to an Irish passport because of that. That it is, I know people have said I need to look into that. I have looked into it of some sorts, but I don't think I can, if I'm honest. Number 3. The Free Legal Advice Centres, a legal charity, has expressed concerns the change to the section on care contains harmful stereotypes such as the concept that the provision of care is the private responsibility of unpaid family members without any guarantees of state support. But some disability right campaigns argue the emphasis on care treats disabled people as a burden, rather than as individuals with rights that should be guaranteed by the state. In Dublin, nurse Una, sorry, I can't say that name, guys. Apologies. Said she voted no because the changes, no to both changes because I thought it was too rushed. How long? But it was announced a year ago. But this referendum, my understanding from the article, was announced a year ago. So I don't think it. I mean, I'm just speculating, obviously, so I'm not going to jump to conclusions. But I'm off the assumption that this was thoroughly thought out. So Larry the Cat, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Steve McMorran there as well. Good to see you both. Hope you're doing well. If I've missed anyone, I'll try and keep my eye out if I haven't missed anyone. I felt we didn't give enough time to think about it and read upon it, so I felt to be on the safe side. No change, she said. I just think the wording of the Constitution needs to be changed. I mean, it could, yeah, I understand it. I understand the concerns about what the wording should be, but the current wording doesn't suit it at all. Catherine Doyle, a doctoral student, said she voted yes to the changing of the definition of the family, but no to the care amendment because I don't think it was explained very well. There's a worry that they're removing the burden of the states to take care of families, she said. Wagner, who insists the state is not abdicating its care responsibility, said rejecting the change would be a setback for the country. If there's a no vote on Saturday morning, hundreds of thousands of children in Ireland will wake up to hear that Irish society has decided that their family isn't a constitutional family, isn't an equal family, just because their parents aren't married, Vovchansk said this week. If there is a yes vote, we will be saying as a society that all families are equal. And I believe that's how it should be. John O'Dolan, who voted yes to both changes, agreed that rejecting them would be a backward step because so much will be read into a no vote. The results will be known. Polling stations will be open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday, that's today, counting the ballots of each of Ireland's 39 constituencies. The results are likely to be known Saturday afternoon or evening. Irish citizens who are 18 or over, some 3.3 million people, are eligible to vote. I'm very glad I came across this article, guys. I'm really glad I came across this because I really hope they vote with their conscience and vote for what I believe will be in the best intentions for Ireland. You know, I generally, even though I don't cover Irish politics, guys, or Northern Ireland for that matter, I really want to put this out there. As someone who, when I was younger, spent a lot of time going to Ireland once a year, I generally do very much care about Ireland. I really do care about the country. I really do care about its people. And I really hope that they vote what they believe is best for them and best for the people as a whole, for the benefit of, I hope they really do just vote what I generally believe that's in their best interest. I want them to vote to change this constitution, but obviously I'm not an Irish citizen, so it's not for me to tell them what to do and what not to do. But but I want them to change it. But at the end of the day, it's up to them to make that decision. So I will no doubt, when the result comes in, I will do a short video for people to know the outcome of it if they don't find out the outcome of that. Just before we go to the next story, thanks everyone who's voted so far. I've had 12 votes so far on that, asking outside of Europe, where do you find news most interesting, guys? So I putting you outside of Europe. Yeah, what news outside of it piques your interest there? Seems everyone's more interested in what's happening in America. I would say more specifically North America than South America, I would say, based on the votes. 50% of you think America. 14, Asia and Africa, and other comment. It's like, if it's like somewhere specific or specifically outside these continents, maybe you're interested in news from. Just food for thought one there, really. Just going to have a quick look in the chat. Having an Irish mother, I applied for my Irish passport the day after the referendum, said Airbus. Well, I hope it all goes well, and I hope you get your Irish passport. I'm assuming. I'm assuming you. Oh, well, I'm going to jump. I'm not going to jump. I'm going to jump to. I'm jumping to conclusions, but I hope you got it. Or if you've applied for it, I hope you do get it. In all seriousness, Mad Monk, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I've got a few Facebook friends from Ireland, so they keep me posted on things. So Stephen Banker. I should have done that, says Solari the cat. It's all down to relatives. Them not having a passport doesn't matter. I doubt I have any living Irish relatives. I don't have any living Irish relatives either. Although I can, if I wanted to, get access to the death certificates of my Irish grandparents. But I don't think that's going to be enough for me to warrant getting an Irish passport, guys. In all seriousness, and like I said, the one of my parents who they don't have Irish passports. They don't have Irish passport, so that makes it even more difficult for me to be able to get one. So I don't think I'd be able to. I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight you should have got one, but you know, I'm not gonna cry about it, guys. Honestly, I'm not. Oh, you got it already. Great. That's good. That's good to hear. I have family in Ireland. Duke Vengeance says as well. That's good. That's good. Yeah. From what I understand, there's no time limit. I just wish I'd done it earlier. Says Solari Cat says to Petulous. Okay. No, that's fine. Systematic. All this referendum is all about. Yeah, it's more about the wording of the constitution, and I generally think they should change it, but at the end of the day, it's up to them, to the people to decide what they want, what they want to do. So I'm, like I say, when when the day comes when Scotland have their say and have their voice again about independence, my position is the same. Like, it's not my place to speak on Scotland, as it is not my place to speak on Ireland. I just want them to vote what they think is in best interest of themselves and their people, and the same thing for those in Scotland. Right, guys, moving on to this one in France 24. It's not too long of an article, but it's a very good one, guys. Today, Sweden has officially joined NATO. Prime Minister declares as a safer country. Sweden on Thursday formally joined NATO as the 32nd member of the transatlantic military alliance, ending decades of post-World War II neutrality, as concerns about Russia's aggression in Europe have spiked following Russia's 2020 invasion of Ukraine. Very happy that this has been secured. Once again, NATO's bond is stronger. More nations who are willing to be there to support each other and be there for each other. Being a part of that gives them the security that they need and assurances. If I'm absolutely honest, I don't think even if they were neutral, I don't see Russia attacking Sweden, if I'm honest. But it just gives them that safe assurances, if I'm honest, that they're all kind of there together. So I'm happy in that regard. So the Swedish Prime Minister, God, I got to say these words, haven't I? Ulf Kristersson. I know someone's going to tell me off. And Secretary of State Antony Blinken presented at the ceremony in which Sweden's instrument of accession to the alliance was officially deposited at the State Department in Washington. This is a historic moment for Sweden. It's historic for the alliance. It's historic for the transatlantic relationship, Blinken said. Our NATO alliance is now stronger, larger than it's ever been. Christian wrote on social media posts that we are therefore a safer country. Later on Thursday, he will visit the White House and there'll be a guest of honour at President Joe Biden's State of the Union address to Congress, which has already happened. I don't have an article on the State of the Union address, if I'm honest, guys. I should have got one, and I apologise if you were expecting that today. The White House said having Sweden as a NATO ally will make the United States and our allies even safer. NATO is the most powerful defensive alliance in the world, and it is as critical today as ensuring our security as our citizens as it was 75 years ago when our alliance was forged out of the wreckage of World War II, it said in a statement. NATO's General Secretary Jens Stoltenberg described it as a historic day. Sweden will now take its rightful place at NATO's table with an equal say in shaping NATO policy and decisions, he said in the statement. The Swedish flag will be raised outside the military's organisation headquarters in Brussels on Monday. Stoltenberg underscores the Nordic country now enjoys the protection granted under Article 5, the ultimate guarantees of allies' freedoms and security. Article 5 of NATO's treaty obliges all members to come to the aid of an ally whose territorial security is under threat. It has only been activated once by the US after the September 11, 2001 attacks, and is the collective security guarantee that Sweden has sought since Russia invaded Ukraine. Sweden's assertion makes NATO stronger, Sweden safer, and the whole alliance more secure, Stoltenberg said, and he added that the move demonstrates that NATO's door remains open and that every nation has a right to choose its own path. Sweden, along with Finland, which joined NATO last year, both abandoned long-standing military neutrality that was the hallmark of the Nordic states' Cold War foreign policy after Russia invaded Ukraine in early 2022. Biden, in his speech to Congress, is expected to cite Sweden's assertion to NATO as evidence that Russia's President Vladimir Putin is intending to divide the weakened alliance and failed as a direct result of the Ukraine invasion, and the Democratic president expects to use Sweden's decision to join to step up calls for reluctant Republicans to approve stalled military assistance to Ukraine as the war enters its first year. I don't think that we can't really. They've already done the State of the Union, to be fair. Biden and his NATO counterparts have vowed that Ukraine will join one day too. Context, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Sweden's membership has been held up due to the objections by NATO members Turkey and Hungary. Turkey expressed concerns that Sweden was harbouring and not taking enough action against the Kurdish groups and it regards as terrorists. And Hungary's populist President Viktor Orbán and showing pro-Russian sentiment and not shared the alliance's determination to support Ukraine. After months of delay, Turkey ratified Sweden's admission earlier this year, and Hungary did so this week. Yeah, it was just Hungary kind of. We were expecting Hungary to be a little bit of a troublemaking country when it came to it. To be fair, guys, on that. How happy are you? Happy, Ollie? About why are you not happy? You should be happy about it. I'm disappointed in Ollie. Ollie's not happy about it. I don't know why Ollie's not happy. Ollie should be very happy about this. I think it's a great day for great time for Sweden, and the security of the NATO alliance is a really important. The lava lamp still hasn't formed yet. That lava lamp has been, and I've had it on for more than an hour. So give Ollie back his smile. I can't make him. He's not happy. I don't know how to turn him around. So I'm sure he'll come around at some point. Stephen. I'm sure he will. Right, this next one, guys. Let me just check some of your comments actually, just to see what you guys are saying. So while Europe gets safer, Britain gets weaker. Says you're allowed to have an opinion because it all comes down to. Yeah, I know. I generally do care about Ireland. I really do. I really should cover Irish politics, considering I have such a soft spot to it. If I'm honest. Ollie is loving life. Ollie doesn't appear to be loving life there. 91 Lees is here. Oh, hailing the lava lamp and the orb there. Good to see you, Lees. Hope you're doing well. And the UK military, the soldiers and military staff are considered and I think, highly competent, says Jow. NATO still protects Britain, even if Britain does everything it can to annoy us. Yeah, as long as Britain's part of NATO, and I think we'll be okay. Okay, so this next one, guys, is from it's actually this one is from African News. I've been checking out there. I haven't used them too much, but I wanted to, because they have some stories obviously in Africa, so somewhere a bit different. But this is a small one from them, and it's the headline says at least 8,500 migrants died on land and sea routes worldwide last year, the most in a decade, guys. Somehow, as it says, 8,500 guys. Somehow, I think that number's much higher. It should be. I don't know why, but I feel like it should be. It should be much higher. I don't know why I feel like that. I just feel like more people have died than we know. And it's a terrible thing for me to think of. So it says at least 8,565 migrants died on land and sea routes worldwide last year, the highest number since the UN Migration Agency began counting deaths a decade ago. The biggest increase was on the treacherous Mediterranean Sea, crossing to 129,000 from 2,411 in 2022. The International Organization for Migration said on Wednesday, however, that this was well below the 5,136 deaths recorded on the Mediterranean in 2016, as huge numbers of Syrians, Afghans and others fled conflicts in their hometown towards Europe. Yeah, that was a really rough time. That was a really rough time for Europe. That's when the whole migration thing really was ramping up. It was ramping up before then, obviously, but it was really, really hot back then as well, to be fair. The 2023 count was nearly 20% more than the previous year. Most of the deaths last year, about 3,700, were people who drowned. The count also includes migrants who vanished. often while trying to cross by sea, who are presumed dead even if their bodies were not found. The Geneva-based migration agency cautioned that their account likely underestimates the true death toll and said improved data collection methods are a factor in its calculations. Yeah, this is what I feared. I think the numbers are a lot higher, because these are only the deaths that obviously these are estimates, so they're not factual, but this is the best calculations that they could possibly make about the migration that's taking place around the world. Every single one of them is a terrible human tragedy that reverberates through families and communities for years to come, the IRM Deputy Director General Daniels said in a statement. Overall, the biggest jump in deaths in recent years was in Asia, where 2,138 migrants died last year, 68 more than in 2022. This was primarily because of the increased deaths among Afghans fleeing to places like neighbouring Iran and among Rohingya refugees on maritime routes, the IRM spokesperson George Galliano said in an email. IRM said a record number of deaths also occurred in Africa last year, 1,866, mostly in the Sahara Desert and along the sea routes to the Canary Island. The agency cited difficulty in data collection in remote areas such as the dangerous Darien Gap between Colombia and Panama, where many migrants pass from South America on their way north. It's very difficult to record the numbers there. IRM's Missing Migrant Project, which tallies the figures, was set up in 2014 after a surge in deaths in the Mediterranean and an influx of migrants on the Italian island of Lampedusa off Tunisia. It's pretty devastating to say the least, guys. But I fear the numbers are maybe higher. We talk a lot about migration coming into the UK. We don't talk enough about. I try to report whenever a story comes up about any migrant losses and whatnot crossing from Africa into the into the Mediterranean. I do try to pick up on it whenever I possibly can. I don't always do, but I do try to. And there's obviously migration coming out of Afghanistan as well, so that's an issue. The other thing as well, obviously a while ago I recorded in a Schultz video apparently a lot of Russians apparently fleeing to South Korea. I'm not exactly sure how they go from there to South Korea. I don't know whether they travel through China or whatnot, but apparently a lot of Russian refugees have fled the country to migrate to South Korea as well. And that's not even talking about all those from Central and South America traveling up to North America, and the huge migration problem that America has as well. So there's a lots of issues, obviously, with what's happening in a lot of countries and nations within Africa as well, which is also causing the fires of migration, as well as what's been happening in the Middle East, not just what's happening with Gaza, the continuous conflict in Syria as well, which will as well as obviously Afghanistan we mentioned already, but there is going to be continuous, sadly, migration. It's just a case of just we're trying to want to mitigate them. But I've always said, guys, that if you ever want to reduce migration, we need to fix the houses that they come from instead of just closing our doors on them, because everyone needs to have a home somewhere, and people can only go in so many homes. If you actually fix the homes they come from, they won't need to come to yours. I think is a good analogy to pick on it. The amount of people who have lost their lives because they seek a better life is just sad and inhumane. It is absolutely sad and inhumane. It is a terrible loss of life. But I'm glad someone's recording the numbers, because they're not numbers, they are human beings. But it's important for us to remember that. Some Russians have been going to Korea, but it's not very easy to go to Korea and Japan, and some are even going to Sri Lanka around East Asia. I think if I might be I'm just spitballing a little bit here, but I'm going to go on a limb and say it's much harder for Russians to get into Europe from Russia's side. So they're potentially looking at fleeing to Asia, because it's probably not as security's not as tight on the borders there, shall we say, as it is on the European side. I think that's probably the reason. I'm only assuming. I don't know that for certain. I'm not easily intimidated. Usually have to share my beast and monsters. Usually I block people. It's the best to stop wanting to know about the demons, says Joe. I remember boat people being featured of the Vietnam War. Oh god, that was a horrible time. I listen to all opinions. If you do not agree with them, I say I do not agree with them. We're all humans, not beasts, quarrel over carelessness, says Zhao. To Caesar, to what is Caesar, dreadful economy, well-trained troops in the UK. Yeah. Yeah, I've got one more. I've got yeah. So speaking of Syria and Middle East, let me make sure this is the right one. This is the right one. Apologies, guys. This is from Middle East and I. The text is always small. I always have to do the text small, yeah, for you guys, yeah, before it, so you guys can actually see it. I know it's small, but hopefully you guys can still see it all right. So this is one from Middle East and I. Kurdish groups gripped by fears they brace for a US pullout from Northeast Africa. Now, at the time of this recording, I have double checked to look out to see if there's been any pullout. There has not been. So that could change as we're going live or not. If you do hear anything, please let me know in the live chat, guys. So a high-level visit by a top US commander did little to address the concerns that Kurdish groups will become collateral damage of the war in Gaza. US soldiers patrol in an area in town of Tal Hamas, that's southeast of the city of Kremsli, in Syria, northeastern Halashki's governance on the 24th of January 2024. This was. So, battered by Turkish airstrikes and stalked by fears of US military withdrawal, Washington's Kurdish-led allies in northeast Syria are increasingly concerned that they will be ditched as collateral damage of the war in Gaza. A rare visit last week to northeast Syria by General Eric Kuldilia, the top US military commander in the Middle East, did little to boost confidence in the Kurdish-led autonomous region, officials told Middle Eastern Eye. Neither had an extended reluctance in attacks by Iran's backed groups on the US targets in the region. Chief among the worries of officials in northeast Syria has been a surge of attacks by Turkey since October the 7th, when the Israel-Palestinian war erupted. Ankara has upped its bombardment of civilian infrastructure in northeast Syria, including power stations, the region's electric grid, the medical facilities, the oil fields, in which Human Rights Watch said last month have left millions powerless and without access to clean drinking water. The whole region is on fire, and nobody will respond to Turkey's aggression against us when everyone is busy with Gaza. We have asked the US to rein in Turkey, but they have brushed us off. Mishmu Maseh, the co-chair of the Syrian Democratic Council, the SDC, the political wing of the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, told MEE. Turkish strikes come amid fears that the war in Gaza is accelerating, what Jana Mohammed, another senior SDC official, described to Middle Eastern Eye as potential Afghanistan-like pullout of roughly 900 US troops from northeast Syria, which she said would have chaotic results for the region. The gloom among officials in Northeast has been exacerbated by Washington's approval of the sale of F-16 fighter jets to Turkey. Yeah, this just doesn't really sit well for them, especially when you just hear that they've just approved that. No worries, Genie Bowl. Thanks for dropping by. Much appreciated. Sitting ducks. They are sitting ducks. The Americans told us Turkey would not use the jets against their allies, the SDF. Mislit told Middle East tonight. But we think Turkey will do what it wants. Oh, of course they'll do whatever they want. US support for the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces has long been a point of contention with its NATO ally Turkey. Akina views the SDF as an extension of the outlawed Kurdish Workers' Party, the PKK, which has waged a decade-long wars for independence against Turkey and is also considered a terrorist organisation by the US and the European Union. But Washington has refused to cut ties with the SDF, its main partner in their fight against the Islamic State, the IS militant group. It's quite clustered, what's happening in Syria, to be fair, with so many factions and that, to be fair. More recently, Turkey and the US have been enjoying a fault in ties which has unnerved the SDF. In January, Akina approved Sweden's accession to NATO, which became 7th member on March, and eroding has patched up ties with Greece, steps that have helped Biden administration move forward with the F-16 sales. Turkey's concerns about the PKK led it to launch an invasion of Syria in 2016 with the aim of depriving Kurdish fighters a base along its borders. Two or more military forays followed in 2018 and 2019, giving Turkey and its Arab proxy militias control over large swathes of Syrian territory. Experts say that the deteriorating security conditions in northeast Syria reflect how Arkina is taking the opportunity of better ties with Washington to push its objectives of degrading the SDF. Darren Kafler, an expert on Syria and senior advisor at the International Crisis Group, told Middle East Tonight that since the war in Gaza erupted, Turkey has pursued a new strategy in its bombing campaigns. The Turks are taking advantage of the situation in Gaza, of course. Khalifa said specifically they are degrading the Kurdish-led administration's ability to extract and refine oil in a huge blow to their financial resources. Northeast Syria is home to 95% of Syria's oil and gas reserves. In a press conference last month, Abdi, commander of the SDF, said Turkish strikes on commercial sites and infrastructure had cost the cash-strapped SDF 50% of its budget. Abdi himself is hunkered down with US soldiers at al-Shadid's military base to avoid assassination by Turkish drones. Basically, Kurdish fighters have become sitting ducks to Turkish strikes. Aaron Lloyd, a fellow at the Century International, told the MEE. Looney said that Turkey's emphasis on heating energy infrastructure since October has made life miserable for local civilians, and it adds to the stress between the US and the SDF. Last week, CENTCOM commander Eric Kutilia stopped in his northeast part of the regional tour. He visited Al Rong and Al Hof refugee camps, which are home to 45,000 people, including the families of ISIS militiants. Kurdish forces also guard over 9,000 IS members. But Karelia's visit did little to dispel the SES sense of gloom and the feeling of powerlessness to persuade the US to lobby Turkey against more strikes, regional officials told the MEE. It just feels like this is, it just feels like they're kind of being left behind here, doesn't it? His visit coincided with a Turkish drone strike that killed at least 3 members of the local Christian police force. The SDF is Kurdish-led, but it also counts Syriac Christians, Armenians and Arab forces among its ranks. The US Defense Department warned in a February report that Turkey's strikes were succeeding in driving a wedge between US troops operating in the northeast and their SDF allies. This tension between the US and SDF forces could result in threatening the safety of US personnel. Turkish Foreign Minister Hatice Fal is due to travel to the US on Thursday to meet US Secretary Antony Blinken and the National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. But Syria will likely be a sideline topic, with the Biden administration's energy focused on pushing Hamas and Israel into a 6-week truce, analysis told MEE. Yeah, this is not a priority to Turkey or the US. Like, Turkey are obviously continuing this campaign, but the US are ignoring what's happening here. Fighting in Gaza slowly seeped out and beyond the besieged Mediterranean enclave borders, morphing into a shallow proxy contest between the US and Iran on who calls the shots in the Middle East. Dealing with a number of hotspots in the region has become a game of whack-a-mole for the Biden administration. In Yemen, the US is launching airstrikes against Iran-backed Houthi rebels who are waging war against the commercial shipping in what they say is solidarity with Palestine. Meanwhile, the US is conducting shuttle diplomacy between Israel and Lebanon to prevent the outbreak of war in Hezbollah. Syria is also in a battleground between the US and Iran's so-called Axis of Resistance. In February, 7 SDF fighters were killed in an attack on Al Omad oil fields, the largest US-led coalition base in Syria. Syria's decade-long civil war ended with President al-Bashir controlling about 2/3 of Syrian territory. The semi-autonomous region of northeast Syria, also referred to by Kurds as Rojava, occupies the other roughly 1/3. Driving the US out of the northeast has been a goal of Assad and his Russian and Iranian backers. Since October the 7th, Iran's proxies have launched more than 170 attacks on US forces, mainly in Iraq and Syria, according to the Institute for the Study of War. The deadliest strike has killed 3 US soldiers, however, caught US off guard at a little-known base in Jordan that supports US missions in Syria. The Biden administration has responded with dozens of strikes against Iranian assets, including one that killed a senior Iran-backed militia commander in Baghdad with a Hellfire missile fitted with switchblades, calling the Flying Geestu. Since then, attacks by Iran and its proxies have all but stopped. Robin Ford, a former US ambassador to Syria, told MEE that the slowdown in strikes didn't signal Iran is giving up on its goals of expelling the US from the region, rather the opposite. The Iranians have stopped hard for America to leave, he told MEE. They understand the events are slowly but surely going to be in their direction. They aren't in a rush. Arm the shit out of the Kurds, sorry. The slowing of attacks may actually make it more palpable for the Biden administration to agree the drawdown of the US-led counter-ISIS mission in Iraq, which is a key goal of Tehran and its Iraqi proxies. Because Iraq is the logistical hub for US forces in Syria, pullout there could make the US presence in Syria untenable. Former senior US official previously told MEE. One contingency plan being floated by Department of Defense officials would be to leave US troops in Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdish regions, a US defense official told MEE, preserving the US access to the Ebri airport. Basically, we would pull out, arm the shit out of the Iraq Kurds and still support our guys in northeast Syria, the official told MEE, on the condition of autonomy. Kurds in Iraq's northern region have called on Biden's administration to supply it with air defense systems, but Washington has been reluctant to do so, with the demand for advanced systems from Ukraine being a contributing factor. Prioritizing Ukraine here. Middle East is in chaos, and it's only getting hotter there. While the plan results in some quarters of Washington may not be practical, the US has cut the salaries of semi-autonomous regions' Peshmerga forces, and Ebri is increasingly cash-strapped because of the feud with Baghdad over oil reserves. It's always oil, guys. It's always oil. Iranian Kushtan's extremely weak right now, Ford said. They need Baghdad's approval to pay civil servant salaries. US troops arrived in North Syria in 2015 as part of Operation Inherent Resolve. The SDF was their main partner in pushing back ISIS after it swept through vast swathes of Syria and neighbouring Iraq. This so-called catchphrase was territorially defeated in 2019, but roughly 900 troops remained in the area. Officially, their mission was to conduct raids against ISIS sleeper cells, but they have become a chip in the region's geopolitical chessboard, with some US officials viewing them as leverage to deprive Assad's Russian and Iran allies as valuable chunks of the Syrian territory. Some US officials like Brent McGurk, Biden's top White House Middle East advisor, hopes Washington can seal a deal for a broad US withdrawal from the northeast, following the agreement between the SDF and the Syrian government. Reports in February that the Pentagon is reviewing these long-standing plans sparked panic among supporters of the continued US troops present. The debate in Washington between those in favour of remaining and withdrawal has played out since the Trump administration made an abrupt exit in 2019, which was partially reversed. If the US were to pull out, it would be a violent free-for-all. The Turks will advance, the Syrian regime will advance, the Iranians will advance, and ISIS attacks will surge, Khalifa told MEE. But Ford, for a long-time critic and what he dubbed America's forgotten forever war, said the US has two choices. Either stay in Syria indefinitely or they figure out a transition where the SDF goes to the Assad government, adding that the pullout would likely cement Russia's role in Syria's power broker. Don't really want Russia having too much of a sway here, but I feel like there doesn't appear to be a scenario where the US can have it their way here. Besides facing the Turkish assault and economic crisis, the autonomous region is grappling with sectarian tensions. In August last year, the Arab tribes, with some linked to Assad government, revolted against SDF in Deir el-Zor province. As the war in Gaza drags on, Iran has sought to expose those tensions. Iranian Revolutionary Guard commander Hajib Mahdi is in charge of Tehran's operations in Deir el-Zor and has been actively recruiting the tribes. Fabrin Balis, a Syria separatist at the University of Lyon too, and said Arab trial leaders and the SDF would have no choice but to cut to deal with Damascus if the US pull out. There's a sense of when, not if the US leaves. I don't see how the SDF can survive another year, maybe two, Bashi said. Northeast Syria is collateral damage of Gaza. I wouldn't have too much hope about the future. It's not very good at all, what's happening here. But this is a cause by the US and Europe, what's happening here. Like I said, I'd like the conflict to stop, but I'm not sure what the best solution is here. But there doesn't seem to be a way out for them right now. It's a really tough one here. I would say it's the first time I've actually covered a story with regards to what's happening within Syria as well, because I don't really know too much about the knowledge when it comes into there. But obviously, You know, you have Turkey involved in that conflict. You have Iran involved in that conflict. You got U.S. forces with Kurdish allies involved in that conflict. You got Assad's Syria as Assad and Syria. There's so many tribes and war torn. It's literally like a fatal four-way or fatal five-way of conflicts taking place within it, guys. Just quickly before we go to our first funny video, outside of Europe, where do you guys find news most interesting? Outside of Europe, we've had 20 votes so far. Most so far goes to America, the South and North with 55%. Africa 10%, Asia 20%, 15% say other. Just leave a comment what you guys think there. Syria and Iraq were always about oil. Yeah, it's always about oil. It's always about oil, sadly. Yeah, you're never about the people there. BUFAU Mike. I'm just going to call you, if you don't mind, I was just going to call you Mike. It'd be easier. Even though I'm sure they can make a precision of EU membership for Turkey, depending on offering free and fair elections. Kazakhstan could do. They could do. It's interesting stuff to say the least. So, guys, I've got a funny video for you. I'm not sure if I'll be able to keep it on the live stream. I may have to take it out because of the music, but I really enjoyed this one. So this, while I don't have an American story for you guys, I do have an AI Trump wanting to let you know how it feels if you decide if you decide to vote for him, guys. So I hope you enjoy this little it's called AI Trump, the second campaign ad. I hope you enjoy this.
I'm AI Donald Trump, and I think my supporters are nothing but inbred white trash. If you are one of my supporters, you are among the stupidest motherfuckers on earth. Only a brain-damaged, trailer-dwelling, redneck, sling-blade type would stand by a clown like me, knowing full well that I am a rapist, con-man thief who owes $500 million in legal judgments, and after a lifetime of creating a fake image of unlimited wealth, I don't have the cash to pay them. And yet millions of dumbfounded dipshits still think I'm their Lord and Savior. It's really pathetic because it just goes to show that a huge percentage of America is made up of complete fucking idiots. Only the most hopelessly gullible morons would still support me after 91 felony indictments. If you're still supporting me after January 6th, Stormy Daniels, the Trump University fraud, the Trump mortgage scam, my serial wife cheating, the Access Hollywood tape, my association with Jeffrey Epstein, my racism, my casino bankruptcies, my failed airline, my yacht being repossessed, my failed football team, and all my many, many crimes, you're an irredeemably brain-dead idiot with shit for brains and a rotten and blackened heart. You are a waste of oxygen that a decent person could be breathing. But if you want to vote to destroy your own country, go right ahead. You're too stupid to matter. I will laugh as I take everything you own and send you to a death camp, you stupid piece of shit. I'm AI Donald Trump, and I mean it. If you support me, you are a complete fucking idiot.
That was very strong. God, not gonna lie, guys, that was very, very strong. Oh, Phil McCracken, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you've had a good week. Low, accurate. Yeah, it was. I was quoting Trump supporters. That was very strong. Whether I honestly don't know if that will be able to, if I will be able to leave that on there, guys. I may have to remove it, depending, but we'll see anyway. Oh God, my right. Let's carry on, guys. We've got still got over in well, we've still got about 40 minutes or so before 40 minutes or plus still before I've got this one. Next one, guys, is from is from CNN, guys. Like I said, there's a poll up in the in there if you guys want to if you haven't casted your vote, make your vote count. So this one, guys, is from CNN. Haiti extends its state of emergency as intruders break into the key port terminal. Things are still continuing. Nothing happening here in Haiti. As far as I'm aware, Kenya have not deployed their forces yet. So, and I know for those who are not aware, obviously, Haiti has been in deep doo-doo. They've been in deep doo-doo for a long time. They're in absolute chaos. 70% of the country is controlled by gangs. The US have stated that they will not send in troops. US have said they will not send in their own troops to fix the country because they have done it on so many occasions. I think they've done it about 3 or 4 times. They've sent their own forces in to try and get a grip of the country, to try and bring some democracy and stability to the country. And it just doesn't work. And the US are kind of tired of sending their own people in to do it. So there was an action plan. I think we discussed this last week, whether it was on the World News Round or on the Snowflake Corner last time, guys, that Kenya had agreed with the backing of funding from America and with the UN to send, I think it was like 10,000 or 1,000 Kenyan troops to go in to deal with the gangs. But it looks like things are getting worse as time is passing on here in Haiti. So intruders broke into a major port terminal in Haiti on Thursday as violence in the country escalates after the government extended its state of emergency. The Haitian government decreed the state of emergency would be extended to April the 3rd in the country's west region, and the capital Port-au-Prince, a curfew has been extended to March the 10th. It comes as Port-au-Prince Caribbean Port Service CBS terminal, a major player in Haiti's food import supply chain, was broken into around 8 a.m. 2 security sources told CNN the intruders headed into the terminal gate warehouse that houses mainly containers, the sources said. The source says the unrest at the port continues. Videos of the port on Saturday showed hundreds of people on the streets around the facility and what appeared to be dozens of people breaking into the gated warehouse. CPS did not respond to CNS requests for comment. Exclusive satellite imagery from the Airbus seen by CCTV shows people massing outside of the areas and the crowds moving in and then opening to the streets. So this apparently is a satellite image showing the aftermath of the port breach in Haiti there. Definitely looks like crowds there. Obviously it's very hard to tell from the image there, but we can assume that there are crowds of people. One Airbus satellite shows a significant amount of material littering the area of the container port terminal. Another image taken Wednesday shows a Haitian National Police MARP, Mine Resilient Ambush Police Protective on a major roadway. A security source told CNN that MRAP was positioned there to prevent the G9 gang coalition leader Jimmy Chavilla from expanding their attacks and particularly from moving towards the airport road. The gangs have too much control though, so a gang blockage can be seen along the major street here. Is this the blockages? I'm assuming here, from my understanding here. I can definitely see some kind of blockage there. There's no question, but still, it's absolutely a crazy place. I really do feel for people living there. It's a horrible time for them. Elsewhere in Port-au-Prince, satellite images show blockages, some constructed by local residents and others by gang along major streets closing off entire neighbourhoods. Port-au-Prince has been gripped by a wave of highly coordinated gang attacks on law enforcement and state institutions in what gang leader Chivres has described as an attempt to overthrow the Prime Minister Ariel Henry's government. Armed groups have burned down police stations and released thousands of inmates from 2 prisons, and Chevrier warned of a civil war that will end in genocide if the Prime Minister does not step down, Reuters reported on Tuesday. The chaos has forced tens of thousands to flee their homes in the past few days, adding to the more than 300,000 already displaced by gang violence. It is also affecting the distribution of essential supplies by aid organisations. The World Food Programme suspended its maritime transport services in Port-au-Prince from distributing aid across Haiti due to its instability. A law enforcement officer there. 24 trucks of aid filled with food, medical supplies and equipment are stuck at the Port-au-Prince at the United Nations Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, the OCHH, said in a Thursday statement. Maritime routes are the only way to transport aid, especially food and medical supplies for humanitarian development organisations from Port-au-Prince to the rest of the country, said Stephen Jurek, a spokesperson for the UN Secretary General and the OCHA. Haiti's healthcare system is near collapse, with many health centres have been forced to reduce their operations due to violence and lack of personnel and medicine, they said. Only one public hospital remains operational in Port-au-Prince's metropolitan area, according to the official at the country's civil protection, and emergency services are severely hampered. What do you expect when there's gangs have so much control of not just the capital but the country itself? Hospital Unveils has nearly 70 patients with gunshot wounds since the weekend, and several medical facilities in the country have been burned down in the past day, the officials said. Doctors in Haiti are desperate for help, and a lack of oxygen and a shortage of water. There is no oxygen available, no water neither to service the hospitals because of the shutdown of the pumps to provide water to people. Ronan Lushkovs, a doctor who runs the network of private hospitals, told CNN. Most hospitals have closed their doors in the heart of the capital. He runs a network of more than 20 medical centers throughout Haiti, 2 of which have been destroyed by gangs, he said. The gangs turned them into their general quarters. 7 of our medical centers have had to close their doors as well to prevent our employees from being kidnapped. Haiti Civil Protection told CNN they've been unable to gather information on civilian injuries and deaths since the latest wave of violence. The US has been urging the Prime Minister Henry to clear the way for political transition in Haiti, which Haitian officials could be structured with the initial appointment of a 3-member transitional council, which will select an interim president to lead the country. The unelected leader came into power in 2021 with backing of the United States, Canada, and other key allies following the assassination of the former president Vovchansk. He promised to hold elections in 2023. But they've never transpired, with Henry's administration citing the country's insecurity as a major obstacle. Now, I said at the time, the last time when we spoke about Haiti, I said at the time, while I understand these elections need to take place, and I understand that he is not an elected official as a president, and I totally understand that position. But there needs to be stability in the country, and the country has no stability. And even if he was forced to step down, I can't see any kind of elections taking place without there being absolute sheer chaos. I just can't see it. So even if he says that he's going to call an election, hypothetically, even if he calls it, there's no way it's going to be a free and fair election in any way, shape, or form. It can't. Is 1,000 Kenyans plus UN forces going to be enough to keep it stable? While there's also 70% of the country is run by gangs, it's not going to work. The country is too all over the place. It needs security in order for these elections to take place. So I don't see a solution in calling for him to step down. Yes, I know he's not an elected official. I understand that criticism. I really, really do. But they can't hold elections in the situation they're in. The state the country is in, it's not possible for them to hold elections. It's just not. We have to be realistic about where they are at. Henry has had difficulty returning to the country this week. I wonder why. Probably because he's been targeted. His plane was diverted to the US territory of Puerto Rico and after the Dominican Republic, which shares the Caribbean island of Hispania with Haiti, refused to let it land. When the violence broke out last Friday, Henry was in Kenya to sign an agreement with the Kenyan-led multinational mission to restore security in the Caribbean nation. Nearby nations have been securing their borders following the outbreak of violence. A maritime blockage was established in southeastern Bahamas amid fears of mass migration from Haiti. Commodore Raymond King and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force said at a press conference on Thursday. King said officials are particularly concerned about the jailbreaks, fearing the prison escapees will try to flee Haiti by boat. Yeah, the mass breakout from as well in the prison is concerning as well. While security has deteriorated in recent months, Haiti has for years suffered chronic violence, political crisis and drought, leaving some 5.5 million Haitians, about half the population, in need of humanitarian assistance. More than 40% of the deaths in its impoverished neighborhood of Saint-Soli in the Haitian capital has been caused by violence, according to a survey conducted by the Médecins Sans Frontières (MSF) that studied the period between the 25th of July and August 24th, 2023. MSF said the mortality rate is comparable to those being seen during exceptionally violent periods in Syria and Myanmar. Like I said, I just yes, elections need to happen for the country. They want elections. I would say that everybody wants it, and I understand that. But I just think it's not going to work right now with the state the country is in. I just can't see it. There needs to be the country needs to be secured and safe before they even think about calling any kind of election. Because even if they call one, it's not going to be a proper one anyway. No, so Larry the Cat. I'll see you later on Max's live stream. Deborah Hart, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Top of the gangs are on the throne, said. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I've seen it. I've subbed to X Drone, RC Plane Drive channel, talking about other channels. So the world is simply going mental. System Banker, yeah, it's pretty mad here. They aren't looking at Nigerian and Kenyan troops. I know. Oh well, there was the last when we last covered it, Mike. What happened is apparently they're being blocked by Kenyan courts. Were blocking the deployment of Kenyan troops there. I still haven't seen anything with regards to Nigeria, if I'm honest. Again, but I haven't seen an update on that since then. But I will have a look again when I get a chance. Criminals with military-grade weapons in Haiti, keep that in mind. So basically, a military militia. Yeah, they're getting a lot of weapons. Where are they getting the weapons from, by the way? Who's supplying them with the weapons? I will give you a story. Last night I was watching a plane spotting channel live and seen a reel from a Bahrain 777 just came off just after takeoff from SFO, says Mad Monk. Just for a moment I couldn't tell if you were talking about the UK or Haiti. I don't think that's a fair comparison, Duke, in all seriousness. Haiti is in a much more volatile situation than the UK. Right, so we got two more to go through, guys, so I just want to crack on because it's 8 o'clock. I am concerned about time. So this one, this one's a bit of a short one, but I just wanted to share this one over in Asia, guys. This is also from CNN. Hong Kong unveils its second national security law, aligning the city more closely with mainland China. To be fair, this is something we should be expecting, considering it's, like I said before, it's only a matter of time before Hong Kong basically becomes just part of China. If it isn't already, it is. While I really do admire those who are trying to stand up and fight for the democracy within Hong Kong, that's just not going to happen. Ever since the UK kind of handed it over to China, it's just not going to be a good time for them. And these laws are not in the interest of its people in any way, shape or form. And nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to come to the aid of Hong Kong. So its government unveiled a new suite of powerful national security laws on Friday that critics and foreign governments warn that could deepen the ongoing crackdown in the city and further undermine its reputation as an international business hub. Yeah, I don't think China honestly cares as long as they get a grip on Hong Kong even more. The clock is ticking on this country. The 212-page draft bill tabled into the city's oppression-less legislation introduces a new range of national security crimes, including the treason, espionage, external interference, and disclosure of state secrets. The most serious offences are punishable with up to life imprisonment, with the involvement of external forces, a byword for foreign governments and organisations, treated as an aggravating factor. China and Hong Kong leaders said the laws are needed as part of their drive to restore stability following huge and often violent democracy protests in 2019, and argue their legislation is similar to other national security laws around the world. Critics counter that what China's Communist Party views as national security offences are far broader and more sweeping, often ensnaring political criticism, dissent, and even business activities that would not be criminalised elsewhere. They point to the application of national security laws in mainland China as well as in Hong Kong, where a Beijing-imposed national security law has already transformed the once outspoken city since 2020, silencing almost all dissidents and jailing dozens of political opponents. Many civil society groups have disbanded, and outspoken media outlets have been shut down. The new draft Hong Kong law, known locally as Article 23, is aimed at filling the loopholes left by the Beijing-imposed version enacted in 2020, according to Hong Kong's government. A previous attempt to pass Article 23 laws back in 2003 sparked huge protests and a government U-turn. But the atmosphere in Hong Kong this time around is very different. Yeah, it's been much more suppressed. It's just very much suppressed now. Many of the city leading pro-democracy figures are in jail or either convicted or facing charges under the 2020 national security law. Others have fled overseas, and the city, once a draconian legislature, had been cleared of pro-democracy opposition politicians, reassembling instead of the type of rubber-stamped bodies favoured by the Chinese Communist Party on the mainland. Public consultations for the new laws this time lasted 28 days, 2 months after the short of the time given during the early attempts in 2003, when hundreds of thousands of residents hit the streets in protest. The government said 98% of its 13,147 pieces of feedback it received during the consultation period showed support for the new law, and just 0.47% voiced opposition. That's probably because they're afraid of voicing their opposition for it, including a dozen of what is called overseas anti-China organizations, or abstentions. I can't say that word, apologies. Hong Kong's legislature convened special sessions for the first and second reading of the proposed bill on Friday, within 3 hours after it was tabled. They were prompted by Hong Kong's leader, Zhong Li, a former police officer and security chief, who told lawmakers to pass the law at full speed. Completing the legislation work even 1 day earlier means we can effectively safeguard national security 1 day earlier, he sent a letter to the legislature on Thursday. Authorities have yet to announce when the third reading will take place. Last month, the US warned Article 23 risks compounding the 2020 national security law that has curtailed the rights and freedoms of the people in Hong Kong. In a statement, the US Department of State said it was concerned by the broad and vague definitions of state secrets and external interference, which could potentially be used to silence dissidents, and some of the provisions that may have extraterrestrial effects. Well, it's all well and good in the US saying that, but are you going to do anything? No, you're not going to do anything about it. You're really not. I don't expect them to do anything at all, guys. I really, really don't at this point. I'm glad that there are, like, the only good thing I can say is that Hong Kong have a way out. If Hong Kong people obviously want to still live in some form of democracy, at least they can come to the UK, because they do have that legal right to apply for asylum here in the UK if they want to do that. But I really the clock is ticking on Hong Kong, and no one is going to come and save them when China eventually takes it. What do you think, Ollie? Yeah, I know. It's terrible. Well, you should be at least happy, the lava lamp, and you're still not happy. I thought you'd be happy about at least Sweden, but no, he's not happy about Sweden at least, guys. Well, it's not. Listen, you can't ask for super chats and memberships every day. Some people can't afford the money. You have to understand that. So, you keep expecting people, to give money away. No, it's not like that. Silly guy. Cannot say a lot on here, but I've given the directions to Deborah Hart. Haiti has better weather. Does it have better weather than us? I'm not sure about that, Mike. But I would say that obviously the other side of the island, the Dominican Republic, has they're very fortunate geography-wise, believe it or not. Some time ago, I heard an interesting thought on the China issue. Someone said that decades ago, many Western leaders said that Germany would find a way to reunite, and he likened that to the Chinese, says Pedulous. Interesting. Tonight on the China show. We'll find out more about Hong Kong tonight on the China show, says Alistair Keir. Interesting. Black market, says Duke. What black market are you referring to? There's lots of black markets out there. Just for a moment, I've read that already. The country is in complete chaos, and a part of the confusion is the fault of the Haitians themselves, but the UN should just intervene and secure at least a minimal for the people, in my opinion. I think the problem is they don't have I could be wrong, but they don't have enough forces to. I correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm not 100% sure on that, if I'm honest, Jao. But I understand that. I do understand that it's easy for us to say that the UN should be doing more to secure it, but it's difficult, it does frustrate me that that countries like Sudan are being torn apart, and the world is just carrying on, with their heads in the sand, while all we're talking about is Ukraine and Gaza all the time. It's infuriating. When we don't talk about these nations. Alistair Keir gifting 2 memberships. Thank you so much, Alistair Keir. He gifted 1 to Pedulous, our moderator, and 1 to Tories Don't Get Tasered. What's that, Ollie? Oh, okay then. He's feeling a lot happier. Hey, the lava lamps come together as well, to be fair. The lava lamps come together as well. That's good as well. So, the lava lamps come together as well, guys. Okay, we're going to be looking now for the last 10-15 minutes or so, guys. We'll be looking at what's happening in Ukraine with the Kiev Independent, and if we get time, we'll look at the deep state map as well. So, Russian drone attacks car in Vovchansk in Kharkiv Oblast and kills 2. So, Russian forces attack civilian car in the town of Vovchansk in Kharkiv Oblast today, killing a 58-year-old man. And a 53-year-old woman, according to preliminary data, the governor Oleg wrote on Telegram. The strike was carried out by first-person view kamikaze drone at around 3 p.m. local time, the governor said. According to the witness, there could have been another person in the car, it was reported. The town of Vovchansk, with a pre-war population of around 17,500 people, lies just some 60 kilometers northeast of Kharkiv, less than 10 kilometers from the border with Russia, along with other frontline settlements. Vovchansk suffers from near daily attacks from Russian forces. Earlier that same day, a Russian-guided aerial bomb attack on the private house of Vovchansk killed a 40-year-old woman and injured a 67-year-old woman, damaged at least 12 houses, the authorities had said. I'm going to hit the refresh button and see what they've got here on the side. So this is from Czech officials. Allies yet to collect the full funding for the 800,000 shells earmarked for Ukraine. Czech National Security Advisor Tomi Poskar placed doubt on the President's Peter Pavel statement about arguing that all the funds need to purchase the 800,000 artillery shells for Ukraine, a Czech outlet had reported. Pavel said in February that Prague had identified 500,000 155mm shells and 300,000 122mm shells outside Europe that could be bought and sent to Ukraine after necessary funds were allocated to the initiative. So I covered this in I don't know if I covered it on a short or World News Round or Snowflake Corner. There's been talk about getting some more weapons and ammunition outside of Europe. On March the 7th, the President announced that once Norway had joined the Czech-led alliance initiative, the requested funds had been collected. I assume that Mr. President meant the first batch coverage, not the entire incentive. In any case, we have not covered it yet. Polodeskis. Czech Prime Minister Peter Vaska earlier wrote on Twitter that raised funds would be enough to buy the first batch of 300,000 artillery shells. Our work and our help to Ukraine does not end here. We keep seeking partners so we continue to support Ukraine in its brave fight against the Russian aggressors, he said. The Czech Defence Ministry also published a statement yesterday saying the Czech Star is working on various forms of artillery ammunition deliveries, the speed of which we managed to raise necessary money is great, the Czech Defence Minister Jana Šaviska has said. The initiative continues. We are continuing looking for other ways to get ammunition for Western and Eastern origin. It is necessary to use the potential of this broad coalition, Šaviska added. The Kiev Independent made a request to the Czech Defence Ministry on the current status of the funds allocated for the initiative, but was not provided with the details. According to Pavel, 18 states have contributed to the incentive, including the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Latvia and Canada. £60 billion in aid from the Ukraine from the US remains stalled in Congress. The Ukrainian armed forces continue to face critical ammunition shortages. Ukraine has already withdrawn from Avdiivka, the city front line in Donetsk Oblast. Yeah, we've covered that story before. Let me just see if I can find one more. What have we got here? We do not know. That's not too much there. Just seeing what else we have here on the side. We've just read that one. What's this one? Russian missile hits 400 meters away from Zelensky and the Greek Prime Minister, the President said. What? Russian troops struck Oscar with a ballistic missile on March the 6th, approximately 300 to 400 meters from President Vladimir Zelensky and Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos during their visit to Ukraine's southern port city, Zelensky said in an interview with Italian media outlet RAW News. I'll tell you what, if they were able to hit, if they could hit Zelensky, they would have done so. The Russian attack occurred when Zelensky was given a tour of the port by the president and his staff. A total of 5 people were killed in Oscar as a result of the strike, according to Navy spokesperson Dmytro Peskich. Zelensky said it was difficult to determine who or what the Russian troops' target was, but in any case, the attack was beyond common sense. I don't think it's common sense for them to want to try and kill you, Zelensky, if I'm honest. We hosted a prime minister of another country, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about respect for leaders and people of other countries. There is simply no respect from the Russian President Vladimir Putin, the president noted. I don't think he honestly would have cried a river if he accidentally killed the Greek president. Um, President from Putin's perspective. Um, yeah, the Russia doesn't care. The two leaders' staff were not able to react quickly because of the missiles arrived very fast from occupied Crimea, and the air raid was short, Zelensky said. According to him, the Greek Prime Minister was very surprised. Well, you're in a war-torn country. You're quite, you're not even, it's not like you're at the capital, Kiev, if I'm honest. At the speech at the European People's Parliament in Bucharest on March the 8th, Mr. addressed the Kremlin saying that we will not be afraid, we will continue to support Ukraine and its citizens as long as necessary. The intelligence agency shows that Russia's attempts to assassinate the president was at least 10 times, Zelensky had said. Right, so I'm going to stop there because I just remembered that I still got the funny memes to do as well. So we're going to have a quick look in the deep state map, guys. Let's see what's happening here. Let me just bump and make sure... nope, that's not the button. I keep forgetting what the button is. There we go. Right, so we're going to pull... We'll just go back a couple of days and just see where the state of things are here. Has air been... And it doesn't look like there's been... I'm going to go on a limb and say there hasn't been too much change here. On the north front, doesn't look like there's been much change here. What about down here? Has there been any change here? Let's just have a look. The latest update, just for reference, guys, was yesterday on the 7th of March at 9:23 p.m. Just for reference, for those who can't see the timing and the day for the latest update. Has there been any changes? There doesn't look like there's been any movement here. It looks like things have kind of, in certain parts, have just quietened down. Not too much movement here. Looks like there's not been too much movement there either. Let's just have a look. Doesn't look like too much is happening here. Looks like it's just kind of stalled here. What's happened here? Let's go can we go a few days back? There's been a slight movements here since the start of the month here. If we go all the way back from the first month here, there's been little bits of pushing here. It looks like they have secured Olavika there. And looks like they're going to take Tonyex on the looks of it there. So there has been, obviously, since Avika has fallen, they've been making some gains. Small little gains there. Marika here, has there been kind of any pushing here? Not too much here. Doesn't look like there's been much change here. Too much here either. I don't think there's been any other movement here. I could be wrong. Let's just have a look. Just pull back a little bit. No, it doesn't look like there's been too much other change here on the map according to the deep state, guys. But we'll just pull out and show you guys. This is slowly as it comes out. But that's the map, deep state map at the moment. Not too much has been, I do provide every time there's like any kind of anything going on. I try to provide what I can with regards to Ukraine, but it doesn't look like there's been too much happening. Little movements here and there, but not a lot, to be fair, guys. There. So I'm going to end the poll because I am conscious of the time a little bit, guys. Thanks to everyone who voted on the poll. Greatly appreciate. 21 people voted on outside of Europe. Where do you find the news most interesting? 52% of you said America. South and North, I'm going to assume most of it you think it's North. 90% Asia. Other was like any countries, or if you're not sure. And 9% Africa. Thanks everyone for your votes there. And I'm just going to get the... Let me make sure the memes are set up correctly. Yeah, I think we're good to go with them. But just before we do, Ollie, are you okay? Yeah, you're all right, because he's okay now because we got a few gifted memberships, which we did not need. But he's a bit of a greedy bastard, to be fair. Right, so we've got 7. I've got 7 memes for you guys before we wrap things up. So I hope you guys enjoyed them. Don't run away just yet. Hope you guys get a laugh out of these. As always, I need to drink some water. Okay, funny memes. Here we go. Hope you guys enjoy these. Me showing up to work. sometimes the universe puts you in the same situation again to see if you're still a dumbass. My second attempt at making a salad. I just don't know what I'm doing wrong. When you're completely done with everyone's shit. If you laugh at other people's conditions, you will be like them in the future. Bill Gates, ha ha ha. Jeff Bezos, ha ha ha. Johnny Sins, ha ha ha. Didn't work. In the UK right now, a train is delayed as a cat is sitting on the roof and refuses to come down. The company asked them to come to work with clothes they used to wear on their Zoom meetings. You notice the only woman there who's actually dressed appropriately. Both women, to be honest. Well, to be fair, I'd say the woman on the left with her slippers. Yeah, I was just going to show it again, guys. The cat, that legit happened. A high-speed train had to wait due to a cat being stuck on the top there. Like, yeah, good luck trying to get that cat down. Yeah. So, guys, just a reminder, quick reminder before I hit the outro and thanks to say, Monday live stream, Snowflakes Viewpoint, guys. Wednesday, the Snowflake watch is back. Tuesday will be World's News Round premiering, so you guys can watch along with me on Tuesday night before Max's live stream again. Thursday, the big one, guys, is the 1 year anniversary of the YouTube channel. So if you guys can come along, please do. I've got a lot of funny stuff coming up for that live stream on Thursday. I will be doing still a Regan's News Round, but it will be moved. I'm going to be moving the time slot, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do on Thursday. It might just be short videos and maybe just Regan's News Round and the live stream in the evening is what I'm probably going to do. So, yeah, you are getting that. There's not going to be a PMQs next week, guys. Even if they are doing one, I'm not going to live stream one this week. I said I'm not going to do them every week. Even if people want it, I'm not going to do it. Like I said, every now and then. And of course, obviously, next week we'll be back with another episode of the Snowflakes Corner, guys. So let me know in the comment section, guys, what you thought of some of the stories that we covered today. Let me know, guys, what you thought of all of them. I want to say thank you to everyone in the live chat who's come here today. Thank you for all for all your participation, your opinion pieces, and all that, and for participating in the voter. Really appreciate it. And I hope to see you guys over in Max's live stream. I'll put a link for that on our way out. But guys, just before I go, so saying if you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe. Help me get to that 1,000 subscriber count. Be greatly appreciated. And if you want to financially support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, guys. Or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content there as well. So thank you all so much for watching. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.